This video is exactly what it sounds like. I did do surgery on my goldfish to try to save his life. Before I get into showing you the actual surgery, don't worry if you're squeamish, I'm not going to jump right into it. I'm going to give a little bit of background and warn you before I show anything. But to those of you who are curious, I hope you enjoy it as much as a goldfish surgery can be enjoyed. Anyways, so a little background. I've had goldfish my whole life. I really love goldfish. I think they are phenomenal pets. And the oldest one I had lived to be 11 years old. His name was Jack. And a lot of people are shocked. 11 years old? Well, goldfish can actually live quite long. We're just pretty terrible at taking care of them as humans. So my current goldfish, his name is Eragon, is 7 years old. I hope he lives as long as he possibly can. I really love my goldfish. Here's this short clip of him when I first got him. He was super tiny, super adorable. Since then he's gotten a lot bigger. He has been in great health up until about last fall. Now, last fall, I noticed there was a small bump on what for a human would be like your right hip, but for him, it's his side, I guess. I wasn't concerned for quite a while. It stayed the same size, and then it began to grow, but very, very gradually. And it wasn't until 2020 when it became a problem. It just grew at a substantial rate and just became horrible for him. It was huge in comparison to him and very difficult for him to swim. I had to take everything out of his tank as he kept bumping into things, splitting it open, and it was bleeding. I felt horrible, and so I started looking into what is this and what can I do about it. My three options. One, a bunch of different weird home remedies that I couldn't find a ton of scientific basis for or a lot of veterinary support, like pour garlic oil in his tank. The next one, if I couldn't fix it, I did have to consider euthanasia. And the last one, surgery. So I started doing so much research. I did days, weeks actually of research, looking into what could I do, what does it involve. So then I started contacting my local vets. Now, goldfish are considered exotic pets, which seems odd because goldfish are one of the most common pets out there. So I found 3 exotic places, and only 2 of them really ever dealt with goldfish, and I really didn't feel very comfortable. The first one then said, well, we had this vet and she used to work with fish. Maybe we could call her in to advise. And the last one said, I've never worked on a fish before. I'll have to do some research about it. And that didn't make me feel confident at all. What really just put the nail in the coffin with that was they were quoting me between $200 to $800. And to quote my mother, you could have 200 to 800 new goldfish for that price. She's right, but at the same time, I love my goldfish. I take being a pet owner very seriously. When I adopted him, his life became my responsibility. I don't want to give up on him. I want to do everything I possibly can, but I couldn't afford $200 to $800. I didn't want to euthanize him. Besides, they quoted $60 to $80 for euthanizing him. It just seemed terrible, so I started wondering, could I do this myself? I started researching anything I could get my hands on. I watched tons of videos. I really wanted to get an idea of what working with fish in a surgical environment was like. I also watched human surgeries of tumor removal and just took a ton of notes and tried to figure out as much as I could about that as well. And after a while I went, I think I maybe can do this. So I started looking into getting all of the materials I would need to do the surgery. Between all of the surgical equipment and all of the medications, it would cost me $50. Now, first off, I was surprised I could even get everything that I needed, but I could, and it was $50. Euthanasia was at least $60. I could save money to try to just keep him alive. So I decided, Eragon, let's go for this. While I was very nervous, I had the confidence to at least try to keep him alive. So immediately I started procuring all of the necessary medical equipment as well as the medications. Then I fasted him for 2 days prior just to make sure he was all good. And I also asked my lovely neighbor Tanya for assistance. Now, I love Tanya. She is so amazing. I came up to her with this crazy idea and said, hey, would you be willing to assist me? Because from all the research I did, it was going to be a little hard to do it all myself. I needed somebody to help irrigate his gills to keep him alive during the procedure. And she was all for it. She was such a great sport. So she came over, so did her two boys, and my other neighbor, who is also my hairdresser, shout out to Brittany for my amazing hair, she also came over with her two boys. We're all socially distanced together. So they came over for support and assistance, and this is what we did.
What's this?
So a little bit of background of what we're doing.
Yeah, I was gonna use that one.
So a little bit of background of what we're doing.
Does anyone want me to film?
You can film, yeah. We are conducting surgery on my goldfish. My goldfish, his name is Eragon. He is 7 years old. Unfortunately, Eragon developed a massive tumor. It's kind of hard to see right now because I got a bubbler in there. Can you see it when I take the bubbler out?
Yes.
From my research, it looks like this is something called lymphocystis. Not exactly sure if it is or not, but that's what it looks like. Oops, see him starting to pass out? He's starting to pass out.
Oh, good.
The other thing that it could be, there's a doctor called Dr. Lowe. He is known as the fish doctor. Has also said herpes virus can occasionally cause something like this. Not sure what it is. I wish we had a lab to send for pathology once we have this off. We can do that. That would be great.
Let's make
This
some
is my
slides.
amazing assistant. So what's going on right now? The only thing that I had trouble finding was an anesthetic, but a weird thing is clove oil can be an anesthetic for fish. So we just put what should be the proper dose for the amount of water he's in. And you can see him kind of starting to float around. He's passing out. It's going to take about 3 to 5 minutes, but that's what's going on with him. And we're doing kind of a COVID friendly, as you can tell. No, we're wearing these for surgery, but he is really starting to pass out. And yeah, the noise you hear is the cats in the other room because they're not allowed to be here for fish surgery. Okay, he seems pretty docile. Oh gosh, he's heavy. So the first thing I'm doing is I'm ligating to cut off the blood supply. We're using fishing wire to make it nice and tight so that he hopefully will not bleed out. I think that's pretty good. Make sure he gets some more knockout juice. It's okay, buddy. Let's all take a moment to pray to the fish gods. Would that be Poseidon? Everybody make a little prayer to
Poseidon or Neptune
or Calypso, maybe? I don't know. Probably Poseidon. Yeah.
Calypso is actually a titan.
All right. And again, removal. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be happy about this either, buddy. I'm so sorry.
Quickly, because I'm trying to keep this off as much as possible.
Make sure I don't get his fin.
Good question. I think if you I got it, could I send it to you? No, that one won't send it.
Oh my gosh, this last bit is difficult. Okay, now we want to squeeze some fresh water over that. I'm going to lift him a little bit more out of the water. Just try to cut that better. Yeah, buddy, I know this is not a fun time. This is probably one of the worst days of your life.
But it may save your life.
Exactly. That's what we're hoping. Oop. Oh, sorry.
No, you're fine.
Push him back a little bit. I feel like this isn't the sharpest scalpel. Not gonna lie, Walmart, make better scalpels. So some people said you can do this surgery without any anesthetic. I highly disagree with that. Right? Me
Goldfish.
too.
That's
This is
used
very
to gut a
thin.
fish.
Look at.
It was used for a fish. Is that reflex or is he starting to wake up?
I think it's a mix. I think it's a bit of a pain reflex and he's waking up.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's feeling sick about this, huh?
No.
Good. Hey, Colin,
Yeah.
could you possibly do me a favor and grab another one of these? I'm wondering if I just like got a dud. Supposedly, what is the word? Oh my gosh, scales are kind of like fingernails where they will regrow. So.
So, do you have the thing to seal the wound?
Yes,
or-
I do.
What's it called again?
Cauterizing pen.
Cauter-
But otherwise, yeah, and I don't want to go into his fin. Do you think that's done then? I just think this one little bit here now. Get that nub. Get the nub off and we are golden. Golden lady goldfish. There is water in my glove. Okay. Let's hold him out of the water as much as we can.
Oh, that's disgusting. Is the fish dissection you saw? We may not want the fire alarm to go off.
It's not that sensitive.
Oh my god, it totally does smell like fish. All the doctors who I watched and read about this said it smells like you're cooking fish when you do this. So. Goodness.
Yeah.
So to be very light with this.
It smells like, you know those bug zappers, like tennis rackets?
Yeah.
It smells like that.
I think it's pretty cauterized. What do you think? I've never cauterized before. So now I'm using povidone iodine to basically, this is an antiseptic.
It looks
Get
like
that
blood.
on there. Yeah, it's a very dark colored antiseptic, for sure. So last thing we're gonna do, so this is a special fish Band-Aid. So we're gonna dab that on him too. All right, and now it's time to wake this little buddy up. So I'm gonna bring him to his recovery bowl. Now the thing to wake him up, they say you can shake him back and forth. Small ones, they say you can, like a little tea bag up and down, but I'm just gonna kind of shake him like this. Wow, that's looking a lot better already. Now for post-op, I'm going to be treating his tank with the fish Band-Aid, the Melafix, for about 7 days. And every 3 days, I will change 25% of the water in the tank to keep it super clean to prevent any infections. And he's moving a little bit. And there's the tumor.
Let's see it.
There's the tumor. There's some other pieces of it in the bowl too. See, he's starting to kind of turn himself, but he's still quite knocked out. He's breathing for sure. He's starting to kind of wiggle. Yeah. We can check back in when he fully wakes up. So following that procedure, he was fine for 1 to 2 days. I was feeling really good about it. And then he scared me because he wasn't eating. Now, granted, he had just gone through surgery. I don't really want to eat after surgery. I don't think anybody really does, but I was still really concerned. I had never done fish surgery before, probably won't ever do it again. And I just wanted to make sure he was okay. Now, I couldn't really seek veterinary advice, as I found out before. So I went onto forums, aquarium forums, Goldfish forums. There were some that were even vets that would give advice. So I went on there and I asked people, and I did, side note, get a little bit of odd heat where there was one person in particular who even said I should be criminally prosecuted for what I had done. Now, I looked and I don't think there are any laws anywhere, and I tried my darndest to find one. Maybe if I had pretended to be a veterinarian, there's laws against that, but I never said that, nor would I ever. I just wanted to take care of my fish because his life is my responsibility and I have an obligation to him. I was just trying to do my best to keep him alive, so I didn't really understand why I got that heat. I felt a little bad about it for a while, but honestly, on those forums though, most people were overwhelmingly supportive and kind and would offer any advice they even could possibly think of. And I want to take a moment to thank everybody on those forums. If you happen to see this, thank you. And to all of you who recommended brine shrimp as something he might like to eat, oh my goodness, it is his new favorite thing. So thank you so much for those recommendations. He loves it. So yeah, spoiler alert, he started eating like a day after I actually had contacted those forums. He began eating again and he was doing so great, and ever since then, day by day, he's getting better and better. The surgical area has healed phenomenally. He looks so good. His energy is up like crazy. He's swimming just phenomenally. He has so much more energy, more than when he just had it as like a tiny bump on him. And his appetite is fantastic. I also swear he's even grown a little bit since the surgery. He looks bigger, and he was already kind of a big boy. I'm just so stoked, and he seems to be doing so well. I even got him a new tank after all this. It's twice the size of his previous tank, and I have it all decorated again. He can have decorations back, and he seems to love it. And I'm so stoked that he's doing okay again. And of course, special thanks again to Tanya. You were amazing, your boys, everybody who was there that day. From the bottom of my heart, thank you. You guys were all amazing. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed my story. If you have any questions, feel free to shoot them at me. I'm happy to chat about this, and maybe I'll do another update.